It wasn't long ago that ASUS decided to enter the premium ultrabook market with its ZenBook series. The ZenBook 13, 14 and 15 models have now been upgraded with the latest 8th gen Intel chipsets. What's more is that ASUS has managed to shrink down the bezels quite a lot. I have the ZenBook 13 with me over here and it's so damn good. Well, hey guys, this is Varun from Mr. Phone, and if you're wondering if the device is actually worth your money, stay tuned for my full review. Okay, let me start off by highlighting one of the best things about this laptop, the display. In a bezel-less world, this laptop is going to be ranked pretty high. In fact, the ASUS ZenBook 13 manages a screen-to-body ratio of a whopping 95%, which is just insane. To put this into comparison, the 2018 Dell XPS 13 has a screen-to-body ratio of just 80.7%. As you can see, there is no chin visible here on the ZenBook 13. Now, that's not because it does not exist, but because ASUS has very cleverly hidden it, all thanks to this ergolift hinge. It hides the chin of the laptop, making the display seem completely bezel-less. What's more is that this hinge also serves for better cooling and uplifts the keyboard for a better typing angle. And the laptop is so damn small too. In fact, it measures up to almost a single A4 size of paper and weighs just about 1.09 kgs. Coming back to the display, the ZenBook 13 offers a stunning display. With its 100% sRGB value and a 178-degree field of view, it's one of the best displays I've used on a laptop. I dare say it is as good as a MacBook. The resolution of the laptop is stuck to just Full HD, but for a 13-inch laptop, I think that's actually good. And in fact, it also offers a better battery backup. I'll talk about that later on in this review. In a connected world, your input and output options matter quite a lot. Thankfully, the ZenBook 13 has them in abundance. You get a DC power port on the left, an HDMI port, a USB Type-A port, and a USB Type-C port. Moving on to the right side, you have a micro SD card slot, another USB-A port, and the beloved 3.5mm audio jack. The only issues here are that there is no Thunderbolt 3 support here, and that there is this dedicated charger for the laptop. I mean, for something as portable as the ZenBook 13, the ability to charge it with a USB-C would have been great. I honestly wish that ASUS would have added USB power delivery to this laptop, but I won't make a fuss about it. Moving on, let's talk about the keyboard for a while. Little known fact, I primarily work as a writer for the Mr. Phone team, and well, that makes the keyboard one of the most crucial aspects of a laptop for me. Making the switch to the ZenBook 13, I was a little bit skeptical about it because, the keyboard is a little cramped up for the 13-inch chassis. Surprisingly, the keyboard actually holds up quite well. In fact, the keyboard layout is nearly perfect. In fact, I'm currently averaging about 68 words per minute, which is pretty great. That being said, one thing I despise about the keyboard is the right shift key. It's too darn small, and I found it hampering my typing experience almost all the time. That is one thing that my hands were just not able to adapt to. On to the touchpad now. Honestly, I've been using the ZenBook series since the time of its launch, and well, the touchpad has always been a hit and miss for me. Well, not this time. The touchpad on the ZenBook 13 is one of the best ones I've used in recent times. With support for Windows precision drivers, all the gestures work just the way you would expect. And there's palm rejection too, which is what makes the experience all the more better. But the key point here is that the touchpad also doubles up as the numpad. Yes, that's right. ASUS has included a toggle in the top right corner that allows you to illuminate the touchpad on top. It works well, and despite being turned on, the system intelligently manages to distinguish between gestures and numpad tabs. However, there's more to it that I want to say. You see, the illuminated numpad does not offer any haptic or mechanical feedback to the user. As such, I found myself using the number row up top more often than using the numpad. No, the numpad on the touchpad is not a software gimmick per se, but it's not really a feature. Now, one thing that's very common with bezel-less laptops is the way that they place the webcam. On the Dell XPS 13, the webcam is right at the bottom, while the Huawei MateBook X Pro hides it in the keyboard. Now, while that's a very good implementation, the only issue with it is that the webcam points right up your nose. Thankfully, ASUS has managed to overcome that trouble as well. The webcam is right at the top where it should be, and it is actually a 3D IR camera with support for Windows Hello. As such, unlocking the laptop with your face is so much easier. The only downside is that the camera quality in itself kind of sucks, so there's that. I've already talked about the hinge on this laptop, but there's more to that. You see, the speakers on this laptop are located at the bottom. Now, ASUS claims that it helps the audio bounce off the surface and get further enhanced. But I don't really agree with that. I mean, it does sound slightly louder than other laptops with a bottom firing speaker, but then again, this just seems so mediocre. In comparison, the Dell XPS 13 sounds much louder, which has dual firing speakers on either sides. I'm not saying that the ZenBook 13 sounds bad or low, but it's clear that ASUS has done some compromises in the audio department, because other than that machine is absolutely amazing. And it performs just as well. Yes, performance. Now before we talk about numbers, let me spell out some specs for you guys. The ZenBook 13 comes in two variants of the Intel i5 and i7 processors based on the newer Whisky Lake architecture. As for RAM, you get 8GB of LPDDR3 RAM. And for storage, there's a PCI Express slot that houses either 256GB or a 512GB stick depending on your preferred configuration. There's also a higher end version with Nvidia's MX150 graphics on board. How well does it all work together? Well, in our testing, pretty damn good. In our benchmarks, we found the CPU to be fairly powerful for our day-to-day activities. As for the GPU, do note that this is not a gaming card. That being said, you can play esports titles such as CSGO and Rocket League at medium settings, capping out at 60 FPS. Being an all aluminum body, I was kind of dubious about the thermals on this thing. In my testing, I found that the fans were usually on silent, on idle or normal usage. However, it's during Photoshop or while running benchmarks that this thing gets really hot. In fact, after an hour of benchmarking, the device reached a peak of 89 degrees, which is certainly alarming. So I decided to take a deeper look at it. Opening the laptop is actually fairly easy. You just unscrew the screws with two of them hidden underneath the rubber feet. Popping the lid off the back, you can see that the laptop comes with a single heat pipe that takes the heat first from the CPU and then towards the GPU and finally blowing it to the single fan. Also, the RAM is soldered on, so you can't upgrade that. The internal storage, on the other hand, is upgradable, but with the speeds it offers, you don't really need to. The last thing that I want to talk about is the battery life. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the main reason why people buy an ultrabook is 1. Because it's portable, and 2. Because it keeps you away from the charger. Well, ASUS claims that the ZenBook 13 can offer you 10 hours of battery life, and well, that's never true. In fact, in my testing, I never got that value. But I did manage to get a respectable 8 hours of battery life, which to be honest is pretty damn good. This is largely possible due to the 50 watt-hour battery on this thing, which, let me roll the reel back and show you, occupies almost half of the entire laptop's body. While reviewing this, I would leave the charger back at home, just bring the laptop to work and use it, and it would easily last me an entire day of work. However, in case the same does not work for you and you're a power user, the charger on this thing is a small 65 watt adapter. As I said, I would have preferred USB Type-C charging on this thing, but you can't have it all, right? Coming down to the main question, is the ZenBook 13 actually worth it? The way I see it, it's worth every penny. The ZenBook 13 series is priced starting at Rs 72,000 and goes all the way till 1 lakh, which puts it directly in front of the Dell XPS 13. The XPS 13 series, still available in India, runs on the older Kaby Lake chipsets. The newer Dell XPS 13 series was announced back at CES 2019 and are still a couple of months away before it actually makes its way to India. Now obviously I'll be reviewing that series, but in the meantime the ZenBook 13 is definitely the best option out there. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Mr. Phone and hit that bell icon to stay notified of all our reviews. Speaking about reviews, Irshad recently reviewed the Honor View 20, that's right here, so make sure to check it out as well. For now, the ZenBook 13 is hands down the best Windows Ultrabook option available in the market right now. And well, that was my review of it. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything extra that you'd like us to cover, or if there's anything that we focused a lot more on. Well, that's me signing off, and I'll see you in the next one.